There's nothing worse than investing money in a new opportunity than finding you don't have the time or skill set to take advantage of it, and it just sits on the shelf collecting dust. It's all cost and no reward. Frustrating, right? Well, that scenario is one reason why I created Enhanced Insights, which I'll walk you through right now. First, let me start with, I really want you to get the most value out of the analytics that I provide you. But I also understand that other stuff comes up and you might not have the time, skill set, or even interest at times to dive into it and really get to actionable data. But that's what I'm going to help with. In fact, I'm guessing after 20 years of looking at data and unearthing insights, and also having built all these dashboards, I'm probably going to be a little bit more effective and efficient at getting to these actionable insights. You'll get the hang of it over time, but I'll probably be a little quicker at it at first. So I'm going to walk you through an example here in a minute, but the basic idea is on a set schedule, either monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly, I set aside a few hours and fully focus on your dashboards, going through them with a fine-tooth comb and trying to unearth as many meaningful insights as possible. And maybe even more important, I try to recommend a potential action that you and your team can put in place that's going to take advantage of one of the opportunities that we highlight or mitigate a potential risk that I find. And then I'm going to package up all of these insights in a presentation style report that I'll give to you and your team to review and action in the future. And I can even set aside time to do a one-on-one or a review with your whole team on what we were able to find. Okay, with that intro, let's go take a look at it. Okay, so now we're in the PowerPoint that you and your team would receive. And like I said, I'm also happy to do a live review of this with your team as it makes sense. And I'm not going to go through every slide on here in detail. I just want to give you a feel for what you guys would receive so you can ensure that you guys would get a lot of value from this. So first up, let me just show you what you're getting. So this is basically the content that's in the subsequent slides. So first, and I think most important, is let's start you with a good executive summary. So really try to push all the main insights up front and put the actions that you can take also in that first slide. Everything else is basically going to be backup to what we have in that first slide. So I think a good way to do it is read that first one, go through everything, and then come back to it and go back, and you'll be able to see everything we highlighted in that executive summary. So here's an example of what that looks like. A lot of detail, right? But that's kind of the point of this. So we want to be able to potentially give you, 20, 25 different actions that you can potentially take. Now, I'm going to keep saying potentially because I don't know all the ins and outs of your business, right? I'm just looking at the data. I'm going to create or recommend actions that I think make sense, but you guys know your business best. So you're going to know, yep, this one's going to be something good that we should really go after, but maybe there's a reason something happened and we don't want to take this action. But I'm going to try to list as many as possible to give you guys those options. Then we're going to start to go through all of the backup to those. So you're going to see on each of these slides, I'm going to be picking out certain screenshots from all the dashboards you have available. One thing I'll mention is we have the link to these. So if you wanted to, go in here and maybe you want a little different look at it than what I highlighted, you just click on here. It's going to take you to that Tableau cloud site and you're able to modify these visuals for what would make sense for you. And I'm not, as you can see here, I'm not taking a screenshot of the full dashboard on here because a lot of times that'll be a lot of information on a slide. I'm just going to try to pinpoint specific things that I think you should know about. So with each of these, we're basically going to go through different sections, and I'm going to try to highlight what I found in either trends or other insights that would be interesting. Sometimes we'll be looking at good trends, which is what this slide is. Other times we'll be looking at things that doesn't quite go so well. And then just through all the different categories that I listed at first. And then what I try to do is on the slides that do have a specific action based on some of these insights is we're going to call that out using the asterisks over here. So you can quickly see what those actions are, and then you can also see what were the insights that drove those potential actions. So in this case, we're going to go through our locations and see what's going on with each of those, what's good, what's bad, what can we maybe do different. We're going to look at our different beers and see how each of those is trending. We're going to highlight some beers that aren't doing so well with demand, and then some beers that are doing good. Next, let's look at our wholesale customers. So which of our wholesale customers are up or down compared to historical trends. And then we're really going to get in and deep dive somebody who's struggling a little bit. We're going to try to recommend some beers that maybe we can sell to this customer that are doing good with other customers in their segment, in this case, restaurants. Similarly, we're going to highlight good customers, and we're going to say, great, you have a lot of good momentum right now. We're going to see if we can find an action or two we can take to really build on that momentum and accelerate it in some cases. We're going to look at different days of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. See what the demand has been over each individual day, for the past 90 days, and see how are individual days trending, because that could have a really big impact on your performance and maybe how you staff your tap room. We're going to get into some margin information. So we're going to look at beer margins. We're going to look at wholesaler margins. And again, each of these, we're trying to find some actionable insights that you and your team can go action to take advantage of some of these opportunities or mitigate a risk that we see. Next up, we're looking at what is the average tab, and are your different orders, how well are we doing upselling either merchandise or cans or food out of our locations. We're going to highlight some customers who are late. So we basically look at what their normal ordering pattern is. So maybe a customer normally orders every 2 weeks, but now it's been 3 months since we've seen an order from them. We're going to highlight them on here so you know right who the customers are that you should go talk to and who you should focus on. Next, we're going to break down your customers into different attributes, and we're going to try to highlight the guys that are highly profitable, that are maybe growing, that again, your sales team should focus on because they already are profitable, they have good momentum. Let's see if we can really drive it home. And then we're going to highlight some on the other end of the scale who aren't profitable and maybe are hard to deal with. And you should look at either raising a price or maybe dropping them as a customer overall. We're going to see what different beers have been on tap in your draft room and see if we can find maybe some categories you've had too much or some you've had too little, or if you've had any gaps in your flagships, that could be a concern. And then finally, we're going to leave you with a list of links. So if you wanted to go back and review any of these further in Tableau, you'll have the link to do that. And Tableau is so powerful, right? So I'm taking images to put in PowerPoint, but really these are obviously just static images. As you've probably seen from my other demos, once you actually go into Tableau and explore the dashboard, you're going to find a lot of other insights and opportunities. And then I'll leave you on this one with what I recommended at first. So then after you've reviewed all this good detail, go back to the executive summary. And now these different actions will make a little bit more sense in these insights. So you and your team can go through these, maybe prioritize them on what you think will have the biggest bang for the buck, and then go out there and take these actions. And what's great is then we can set up other tracking and monitoring devices to say, okay, we started this action on August 1st. Let's revisit it, the results from it every 2 weeks for the next 90 days and make sure we are getting the good benefits that we thought we would. And I can certainly help set up some of those tracking and monitoring dashboards as well. All right, so that was a good look at our enhanced insights that I think is going to be a really good opportunity for breweries that have made the investment and they've purchased some of our offers around data extraction and dashboard building, but they really haven't been able to draw those insights that they should be getting off of the analytics. That's where I'm going to help you guys get there. It's going to package it up in a really easy to understand format so you and your team can go take those actions, start making more money, be more profitable and successful. If you have any questions on this or you'd like to talk more about how we can start doing this with your brewery, I'd love to chat. Please drop me an email. You can see my email there is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Again, that's jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.